Hey everyone, this is Thomas with Bentwood Ring Supplies again. Today I'm going to show you how I made this Lavender Opal Inlay Ring using one of our tungsten ring blanks. This particular ring is 8mm wide with a 4mm channel. I started by painting the channel with a deep purple acrylic paint. A small detail, but it sets the tone for the inlay and gives the Lavender Opal a little extra saturation and depth once it's cured. I apply multiple coats, drying them in between with a heat gun. Then I wipe away any excess from the ring surface to keep things clean. After the paint is dry, I'll begin the inlay using my inlay dam. It's a flexible silicone tool I designed to section off the channel, and it helps me work in controlled zones and prevents the crushed opal from spilling, making the process faster and cleaner. In each section, I add just a drop or two of mercury thin CA glue, remove the dam, and either wick away the extra or cure it with activator. It's important to remove the inlay dam before using activator because buildup on the silicone can make it hard to pull out cleanly. I'll usually clip the end off once I notice any buildup. Now, this may be controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. You may have noticed that I'm not applying my material in piles over the top of the ring. This is because that practice is wasteful and does absolutely nothing for your ring once the material rises above the inlay shoulders. So unless you have large gaps that small particulates can travel down into, I don't recommend wasting material, gluing it all on the ring and then grinding it all away. What I do recommend is using a method that is intentional, repeatable, and focused on details that you can control, like the density of your inlay and the location of different materials within the ring. We've skipped ahead a bit, and now we're working on the final section of our inlay. After the inlay is complete, I'll apply a flood coat of thin CA to lock everything in on my slow speed ring turner. Once the inlay is fully adhered in the channel, I'll take the ring over to the wood lathe to cut the inlay back using carbide turning tools. This step brings the inlay below the channel shoulders and gives us room to build up a finished layer. That barrier is what keeps the ring protected for the long haul. I'll use my square carbide tool to carefully trim down the inlay. I'll angle the tool so that it fits within the channel and use either the corner of the blade or the front of the blade to make my cuts. Next, I'll use my diamond tip detailing tool to clean up the corners and the walls of the channel. You're looking for the inlay to be flat across the face and for the channel walls to be cleared of all material. A good target is somewhere between 0.5 and 0.7 millimeters of material removed. I do go cut this further back, but I seem to have lost that footage. Once the inlay is lowered, I'll move the ring back to the slow speed ring turner to start the real finish work. I'll begin with another flood coat of thin CA to make sure that everything is fully adhered. And then, in this case, I decided to use medium CA for the first coat. You'll see that during application I'm letting the tip of the glue bottle drag across the ring as it turns underneath. This is how I ensure that there are very few bubbles to deal with when using medium CA. I'll even take a tool and use it to pass through the CA again, helping it along and addressing any other bubbles that may be there. Using medium CA can let you apply thicker layers, but you run the risk of bubbles if you're not careful. Each layer gets a spritz of activator and then we let it cure. I'm trying my best to be exceptionally careful here and make sure that that medium CA has no bubbles. But you may notice later that we end up having to fix some anyway. So now that the medium CA is cured, I'm going to be doing the rest of the layers with thin flex CA. So our goal with the finish application on this machine is to raise the finish just above the channel shoulders so that it's proud of the ring, and from there we'll be done and can go to sanding and polish. You'll see here in a few places that I'm using a paper towel to wick away the drop that forms on the bottom of the ring. That drop helps with distributing the CA evenly across the ring, and once it's pulled off, what's left is the maximum amount of CA that can be on the ring at one time. Using the slow-speed ring turner for finish application gives me a ton of control. It keeps the ring spinning slowly and evenly while freeing up my hands, and honestly, it just makes this stage more relaxed. I can walk away, come back, and keep layering at my own pace. Okay, so after the final coat is cured on the slow-speed ring turner, I'll bring the ring back to the lathe to sand and polish it flush with the ring shoulders. This gives the whole surface a seamless transition. No raised edges, no uneven spots, just a smooth, continuous feel all the way around. I prefer to use a sanding stick for this because it keeps me from being overly aggressive in any one location, especially over the CA. I don't want to accidentally create a divot or a groove there. We'd have to go back and repair it. It's a good practice here to keep the sandpaper wet, keep it moving, and clean between each grit. I'm using 120 grit, 240, 320, and 400 grit sandpaper. After 400 grit, I move over to Zona paper, which starts off at 600 grit and finishes around 22,000 grit. There are 6 stages and the same principles apply. Keep it wet, keep it moving, and clean between each stage. Okay, so this, guys, is where things are going to take a turn for the worse. I finished my polish and I'm inspecting the ring only to find some pretty serious issues that I'm going to have to address, or this ring is not going to be able to leave. We have some bubbles that I am using I think this is a soldering pick, but it's just a very sharp pointed tool that I'm using to dig out the issue, and from there I leave it on the lathe and I'm putting some CA right back into the hole that I created. Now, usually if you use thin CA and you keep the repair spot clean, you can backfill it and you're not going to see much issue. But I had to do this at least 2 times. We're sanding back that repair, and I'm touching the top of the ring to feel if there is any sort of bump hitting my finger so that I know we've got it all the way sanded back down. And after it's sanded down, I'll go back in and see that we still have a serious issue and repeat the process. I'm using that sharp tool to move the CA down into the hole I created so that it gets all the way down in there and hopefully fills and masks any sort of issues that are left. Here we go again with our sanding to get that repair spot knocked down, and we'll give it a look. Hopefully it looks good enough to go ahead and move to Zona paper and the rest of our polishing stage again. A lot of the times I'll finish a ring, get all the way through the polish, and then, only then, will I notice something terribly wrong. And sometimes I'll even look ahead of the polish stage, but I just don't see it until the ring is practically done. So now that I'm satisfied with the state of the ring, the repair that I'd made, and the polish that's I've done twice now. Moving to our 10-step diamond paste, and I like to use the last 3 steps on just about every metal ring that I make. What it does for me is it brings the CA and the metal to the same high gloss finish across the ring and really pulls everything together visually. Now, this is a minor detail you don't really have to worry about in many cases. It's just an added bonus to the quality for me. So if I'm working with stainless steel and titanium, I'll polish the interior and edges with a rotary tool as well. But in this case it's tungsten, so I won't. And here it is done. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate your support. And if you're a maker and want to try this process yourself, head over to bentwoodringsupplies.com. We've got all the tools and materials you'll need to make rings like this and many others. And if you're not a maker but you'd love to wear this ring, you can find a finished version at our ring store, formandforgedesigns.com. All links below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.